The golden chandeliers glistened above the spotless marble floor as the young maid, Alina, scrubbed the last trace of dust from the ornate frames that lined the mansion's endless hallways. She had been working in the house of the wealthy and mysterious businessman, Mr. Gray, for only 2 weeks, but each day felt heavier than the last. The mansion was beautiful yet haunting. Every room carried silence that screamed of secrets, and though the walls sparkled with gold, the air always felt cold. On this particular morning, Mr. Gray had guests coming for an important meeting, and Alina had been told to prepare the main hall, the one room she hadn't yet entered. She opened the towering double doors and froze. Her heart raced as her eyes fell on a massive portrait hanging above the fireplace. A painting of a little boy with green eyes so vivid they seemed alive. The moment she saw him, her breath hitched. She dropped the cloth from her hand, trembling. "No, it can't be," she whispered, stepping closer, her voice cracking. That face, those eyes. She'd seen them every day of her childhood. "Leo," she breathed. The boy in the painting was Leo, the same boy she had grown up with in the orphanage. The boy who used to promise her that one day they'd both find families who loved them. The boy who vanished one night without a trace. "Miss Alina," came a deep voice from behind her. She turned sharply, her pulse pounding. Mr. Gray stood there, tall and composed, his expression unreadable. "Is something wrong?" he asked. Alina pointed a trembling finger toward the portrait, her voice breaking as she exclaimed, "Boss, that boy, he lived with me in the orphanage." The words echoed through the hall like thunder. For a brief moment, Mr. Gray's confident demeanor faltered. His eyes darkened and his jaw tightened. "You must be mistaken," he said quickly, stepping closer to the portrait. But Alina shook her head fiercely, tears welling in her eyes. "No, sir, I'll never forget those eyes. We grew up together, shared bread, dreams, everything. His name was Leo. He disappeared when we were 8. We thought he ran away." Her voice trembled as she added, "Why is his portrait here?" Mr. Gray's silence was heavy, as if her question had unlocked a memory he wanted buried. After a long pause, he sighed and said, "His name was also Leo Gray, my son." Alina's heart stopped. "Your son," she repeated, struggling to comprehend. "Yes," Mr. Gray continued, his voice low. "He vanished 12 years ago. We searched every orphanage, every city. We never found him." His hand clenched at his side. "That painting is all I have left." Alina stepped closer, her eyes wide with disbelief. "No, sir, you don't understand. Leo didn't run away. Someone took him. He used to tell me stories about his father, a man who would find him one day. He believed in you." Mr. Gray looked at her sharply. "Who took him?" Alina hesitated. "There was a man who used to visit the orphanage, pretending to be a benefactor. He said he was adopting children, but some of them disappeared afterward. Leo was one of them." The color drained from Mr. Gray's face. "You mean—" he began, but Alina nodded before he could finish. "Yes, that man was not who he said he was. I remember his name, Victor." Mr. Gray turned away, his fists trembling. "Victor Blackwell," he whispered bitterly, as if the name itself poisoned the air. "My business rival." The realization hit him like lightning. The man who stole his son had been under his nose all along. He turned to Alina, his eyes fierce now. "You said you grew up with him. Do you think he could still be alive?" Alina's voice cracked. "I don't know, but I've never stopped hoping." Mr. Gray stared at her for a long moment before saying, "Then we'll find him. Together." For the first time since she arrived, Alina saw a different side of her boss. Not the cold, distant man who barked orders, but a father broken by loss and desperate for truth. Over the next few days, the mansion transformed from a palace of silence into a place of purpose. Mr. Gray opened every old file, called every contact, and followed every lead Alina remembered from the orphanage. Each night, Alina helped him, bringing coffee, sorting papers, and sometimes just keeping him company when the weight of it all grew too heavy. They found records showing that Victor had funded several orphanages as fronts for child trafficking. One file stood out, a list of names, including Leo's. The last known location was a small town near the border. Without hesitation, they traveled there. The closer they got, the more Alina's heart ached. Every corner, every sound reminded her of the boy with the bright green eyes who once shared his only blanket with her. When they arrived at an abandoned house near the woods, Alina's pulse quickened. "I remember this place," she whispered. They pushed open the creaking door and entered. Dust covered everything, but on the wall hung a small photograph. The same boy, a little older now, smiling faintly. On the back, scribbled in fading ink, were the words, "I'll find you, Alina." Her knees gave way as tears streamed down her face. Mr. Gray gently lifted the photo, his own eyes glistening. "He knew you'd come," he murmured. From that day forward, the search became their shared mission. They alerted the authorities, reopened the case, and spread the story across the media. Hope, once lost, now burned brighter than ever. Alina found new strength in the promise she had made long ago, to never give up on Leo. And Mr. Gray found not just a loyal maid, but the one person who could bring him closer to his son. In time, they became more than boss and servant. They became a family bound by shared pain, courage, and hope. The mansion that once echoed with silence now filled with purpose, light, and laughter. Alina often looked at the portrait and whispered, "We'll find you, Leo. I promise."